A very warm welcome to UCD Open Day for Graduate Studies, and in particular to the School of English, Drama and Film. My name is John Brannigan, and I'm head of the School of English, Drama and Film at UCD. In this video, you'll hear from some of my colleagues who will give you a brief overview of the postgraduate programs available in the 4 subject areas of our school in English, Drama, Film, and Creative Writing. Our school is home to over 60 lecturers and professors who specialize in a wide range of literature, media, film, culture, drama, and creative writing. Together with the students who take our programs of study at postgraduate level, we form a very vibrant, friendly, and engaging community of scholars, passionate about our subjects and passionate in sharing our knowledge, skills, and enthusiasm with others. Graduate students make up a key part of who we are as a school. Our classes are small, dedicated, and inclusive. We have a very active and welcoming graduate society, which organizes meetings and events throughout the term. There are research seminars, conferences, and symposia to which you'll be invited to attend and also to participate in. And ordinarily, we have many visiting speakers, reading groups, and social events, which make for a very lively and engaging culture for promoting research and scholarship in the school. In normal times, we would welcome you to the Open Day on our campus in Belfield, and we would get the opportunity to meet with you in person. And we look forward to the day when we're able to do that, to welcome you to our campus. In the meantime, in this video, we're going to talk to you about what you can look forward to in your graduate studies in UCD, and why you should choose the graduate studies in our program as your first preference for English, drama, film, and creative writing.
What's exciting about the MA Writing for Stage and Screen is it gives writers the opportunity to move from the page up onto their feet and out into the world.
We have a lot of relationships with different theatre companies in Dublin, and we draw on their expertise. And in addition to that, sometimes we're visiting academics from different international theatre departments.
I've tried to make my module one that is a kind of studio-based format. So it's really important, I think, that we create a space in which students can feel empowered to take risks. For me, that's what produces the best work.
There's a great deal of support one-on-one. What we're trying to do is openness to new media, other media, different opportunities, and to look at the commonalities in the kinds of writing.
My job is to use my own professional experience to guide them through what it is that they want to achieve. It's about listening to what they want to do with their screenplay and helping them realize when they're falling short of it or when they're getting there.
I'm not a visual person. I'm very much a writer. I think in language. So for me, writing a film was very hard. What I had to learn to do was, it wasn't about what it looked like, it was about what it felt like.
A central part of what we're doing with the Creative Futures Academy is focusing on future skills and also connecting out to industry. So it's really important that when students come in here, that we can connect them outwards to exciting opportunities with our creative industry partners.
It was Hitchcock who said, what you need for a good film is the script, the script, the script. And it's lovely to see a course that is genuinely focusing on the origins. They had actually taken this opportunity in the course and the structure to build something real, something that they could bring to a funder, that they could bring to a director and turn into a real film.
I talked to some of the pupils about the ideas that they were playing with and toying with. I was really taken by the creativity that was on display. They're bringing a fearlessness with them into the process, and I find that really, really inspirational.
For the last 30 years, we've organised a trip to London. We managed to see at least 2 to 4 brilliant shows. Everybody seems to have a great time, but more importantly, we see work that sets the standard in terms of our own theatre practice.
We're constantly looking at ways that students have something to take away into the real world when they're done.
I'm much more confident in my writing abilities than when I first came to UCD. I feel more comfortable engaging with a group and working collaboratively.
We have a number of really important facilities, a new black box theatre space, a media lab where people can get involved in content creation. But beyond that, the wider campus is just full of great facilities in terms of media and radio and theatre.
Through studying writing of other writers in depth, you become more versatile. Over the last while, I've written a play for Drama on One. I've written for Sunday Miscellany. I have written a parent's diary for the Irish Times when my son was doing his leaving certificate, which was great fun.
What has really, really mattered to me is that at the end of the module, everybody's written a film, and that's incredible.
Hi everyone, you're very welcome. My name is Lucy Collins and I'm the Programme Director for the MA in Irish Literature and Culture. This MA is the longest established MA in the field of Irish literature anywhere in the world. And we're very proud of that long history of teaching and of the diverse body of students that we attract. So alumni from our programme have pursued many different careers, including teaching, publishing, the media, arts administrations, and academic jobs all over the world. In many ways, our course combines the best elements of this long tradition of teaching, with some of the most significant Irish writers featuring, such as W.B. Yeats, of course, James Joyce, and Samuel Beckett. But the MA also engages very directly with contemporary Irish writing and cultural production. So we explore the latest poetry and fiction and engage with contemporary performance cultures as well as digital media. The emphasis of the programme as a whole is on Irish literature in the world. So on the ways in which Irish writers have actively engaged with the events of their time. And as a team, we're committed to the public humanities. So that is, we want to explore the role of literary and cultural production in the wider world through museums, exhibitions, performance, and broadcasting. So one of the writers with which UCD is most associated, of course, is James Joyce, who was a graduate of our university. And our school is home to the James Joyce Research Centre and also hosts the James Joyce Summer School each year. We also have a strong tradition in theatre studies, both from the early 20th century during the period of the Irish Literary Revival, but in particular, we have an emphasis too on contemporary performance work. Likewise, in poetry, we're really interested in transnational texts and in recent work, especially by women. The structure of our programme capitalises on this important relationship between the larger cultural debates that shape the study of Irish literature all around the world, but also on our specific research fields in this school. So for example, in the first trimester of the course, you'll have an opportunity to explore current theoretical perspectives on Irish literature through our Theorising Irish Culture module. And perhaps most importantly, you'll get to engage with the wider world of the arts in our Public Humanities module, which takes us out of the classroom and into museums and performance venues, such as the Museum of Literature Ireland, Poetry Ireland, and other national institutions. There are opportunities to develop this work on that module later in the year, when you'll have the choice of either working on a dissertation, where you'll choose a research topic to develop, or you can work on a project related to a cultural institution, giving you hands-on experience of the arts sector in Dublin. The UCD College of Arts and Humanities and the School of English Drama and Film host vibrant postgraduate communities. And so typically there are lots of events on campus and online in which you can participate. And we also have some great resources, both in our school and in UCD Library and Archives. Two resources that you might be particularly interested in are the Irish Poetry Reading Archive, which is a national digital repository hosted by UCD Library. And this contains readings and interviews from a range of contemporary Irish poets, both names you recognise and perhaps many that will be new to you. You can catch these recordings on YouTube. They're enjoyed around the world. We've had more than 200,000 hits on the archive so far. Our school is also home to two of the most prestigious Irish literary journals, the Irish University Review, which is now in its 50th year, and the Dublin James Joyce Journal. So together, these resources really make this programme a focus for new and innovative scholarship in Irish literature. And they make UCD a great place to explore the many ways in which Irish literature and culture shapes the modern world. So if you'd like to hear more about the programme, do come and see me at the virtual booth, or you can email me at lucy.collins@ucd.ie. And next we'll hear from a recent graduate of our programme who'll be able to tell you all about his experiences on it.
My name is Lloyd Wright, and I did the MA in Irish Literature and Culture in 2016 to 2017. I had done a undergraduate in English and Spanish, and towards the end of my second year, I was certainly getting kind of hungrier for more detail and more discussions in a lot of my classes. And by the time I got to final year, I'd picked a lot of Irish literature modules. So it felt like something of a no-brainer really to take on the MA in Irish Literature and Culture, and there were so many aspects of the MA that really contributed to both a professional and academic profile that I've kind of gathered since then. So one of the things is that you'll notice maybe by the time you're finishing up your undergrad, you've started to hone your skills in research, but also start to develop interests in particular areas of Irish literature and culture. And with the staff in the MA, they do really give you a perfect environment for nurturing those interests within a certain structured arena as well. Modules like Theorizing Irish Cultures also kind of open your parameters to wider cultural discussions, politics, history of Ireland, and how it's really been manifested in culture and literature. You really go from 1800 till 2020 for the most part. So it does give you broad scope for reading new stories and new readings on old stories. Also, in terms of professional development, you get some critical skills in research and just general adaptability and pragmatism. After I graduated, I worked in an advertising company, and what they were particularly impressed by was that ability to research and adapt to new working environments, which I credit to the MA for the most part, teaching us new avenues for research and how to go about undertaking work in those new avenues. I can only really describe and really recommend the Anglo-Irish, well, as it was called when I took it, the Irish Literature and Culture MA in the highest possible terms.
Hi, my name is Dr. Anne Mulhall, and I'm the Programme Director of the MA in Gender, Sexuality and Culture. Thanks for coming to listen to us today. The MA was founded in 2007 as the first programme of its kind in gender and sexuality studies in the humanities in Ireland. And since that point, it's gone from strength to strength and is now a really vibrant and vital multidisciplinary programme that we're really very proud of. The programme is sort of grounded in literary, cultural, performance and film studies in the School of English, Drama and Film, which is where I teach. But it also provides students with the opportunity to look at gender and sexuality from a range of different standpoints and disciplines. So you'd also have the opportunity to take courses on gender and sexuality in sociology, in anthropology, in critical geography studies, in communication, media and digital studies, and a whole range of other disciplinary kind of approaches. And so when you're doing that, most of the classes across the board will be in seminar and workshop format, but you'll meet people not just from your own class, but also from across the School of English, Drama and Film, and from across different schools and colleges in the College of Arts and Humanities and in Social Sciences and Law. I think this is part of what makes this programme so special, really, and part of why it has such a huge impact on the students who take it, is that it kind of expands your knowledge of this area, but it also expands it out across disciplines that a lot of people won't have formally really engaged with and delved into in depth. So you acquire a really interesting cross and transdisciplinary kind of knowledge of the area, and also a really, I think, deep, a sort of deep engagement, not just with gender and sexuality in terms of cultural production and literary analysis, but also in terms of social and political kind of issues and formations as well. And also in terms of really bringing to life the fact that gender and sexuality is not some sort of monolith, but is something that we come at through different kinds of angles, depending on our location and time and place. and our own kind of intersectional situation within this sort of crisscrossing axes of gender, race, class, ability, and so on. Okay, and all of that kind of intersectional approach is what is really a keystone of this program, not just in a kind of theoretical way, but also in terms of the actual kind of field of knowledge that we introduce you to, and also in the kind of mixture between the academic and the cultural and the social and political that you will encounter in the course of this program. Now, as part of that encounter is your opportunity to engage in events that we co-organise with our colleagues, particularly in the School of Social Justice, Social Policy and Social Work. We have a strong collaboration with the MA in Gender Studies that is in that school, in the School of Social Science. And we have a centre that we run together, the Centre for Gender Feminisms and Sexualities. And you'll have an opportunity to engage in our social events and also in our kind of public speaker events. We've had some huge international names in gender and sexuality studies, and also in activists in the activist community come and speak with us and our students. A couple of years ago, our MA students set up what has become the UCD Queer Studies Forum, and you'll have the opportunity to get involved in that as well, both in kind of running it and in the sort of social and intellectual spaces that that group organises. It's kind of a safe space for our students, and particularly our queer and trans students, and for anybody who is interested in those kind of vital areas of knowledge and of being and of political organising. Okay, so I guess the key word for this program is transformation. I think that our students find it by and large to be a transformative experience to come and learn with us on this program. And that's not just through what we do in the classroom and through the kind of wide range of expertise that people are exposed to, though it is partly that. And we do really encourage a sort of innovative and experimental and risky kind of work, particularly when it comes to your dissertation. We really encourage people to really follow what they want to do when it comes to that kind of original piece of work. But it's also transformation in personal terms, I think, for people. It widens people's horizons and widens your perspective on the world and your sense of who you are and what you can do in your life and in this world. So it's a lot to kind of load onto one MA program, but I think really it is a really special kind of program, and you will meet people who are like-minded, who are all coming to this program because they have a shared interest, a really shared commitment to issues around gender and sexuality, and really also want to interrogate these often in terms of literature and cultural production, but also in a socially and politically engaged kind of way. Now, our students go on to do many different things after the program. Some people go on to further academic study, but a lot of people have gone into different sorts of fields, publishing, for instance, also non-governmental work, as that is work with advocacy organizations, also research management, arts administration, teaching, and several other kinds of fields, digital and social media. So it does provide you with the kind of critical and analytical and, I suppose, engaged kind of skills and knowledge that are really appreciated in a lot of different fields. That's it, I think, for me for now. I'm just going to hand you over to one of our former students, Sarah. If you want to get in touch with me with any questions, please feel free to email me at anne.mulhall@ucd.ie. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Sarah. I completed my MA in Gender, Sexuality and Culture with my dissertation focused on narratives of women in Irish stand-up comedy. One of my favorite things about this program is that it's interdisciplinary. For my undergrad, I'd also been in an interdisciplinary program, and it was really important to me to be in an MA program that recognized that you can work not just combining disciplines, but like in the sections in between them. Especially because when you're researching something like I was, stand-up comedy, there's not a lot of research on it. So it's helpful to have people who take what you're doing seriously and recognize that there's value in that. And my dissertation supervisor was actually Anne. So she did take it seriously and did recognize its value, which was really nice. I think what struck me, I was talking to my mom, who I'm staying with right now, before this webinar, and I was saying, I don't know what to tell them. I don't know what they want to know. And she said, well, what was it like being in the course? Was it competitive? Was it supportive? And it occurred to me that it never felt competitive being in this course at any time, because the idea that every student has is that we all want to lift each other up. We all recognize that we're doing important work, whether you're researching stand-up comedy or ecofeminism or poetry, whether you're doing something that, you know, is very activist or you're doing something that's a bit more academic. Everyone is really supportive of each other because they want to see you do something and put something really wonderful into the world. Yeah. And I think this is a course that recognizes the way that being in academia can put really wonderful things into the world. And I think that's, you know, that's incredibly special. It's a great opportunity to get to do that and to get to come out of an MA and like you're doing something that you can feel really passionate about.
My name is Declan Hughes. I'm a novelist and playwright, and I'm the course coordinator for the MA and MFA programs in creative writing. There are three elements to creative writing. There is the staff, professional writers, published novelists, playwrights, and poets with a wealth of experience who will be sharing that with you on the programs. Everything from where do the ideas come from to how do they finally land on the page. These are people who are used to guiding an idea through various drafts and seeing it finally in its published form. So that's an invaluable wealth of experience to share. The second element, I guess, is using examples, taking inspiration from literature, from other writers, to examine the choices they've made and to get a sense of how they tackle the various building blocks of writing, structure, point of view, voice, dialogue, character, setting, rhythm, pace, etc. And then the third element is encouraging and enabling creativity, to just get those ideas out, to get them moving from your head onto the page, to release the great stuff you've got locked up in your subconscious, and to see it converted into stories, into poetry. The central event in creative writing is not a seminar, it's not a lecture, it's the workshop. That's where the magic happens. Under the guidance of an experienced writer, you and your peers will submit work to each other, read it, critique it. You will learn to develop an ability to rewrite, to be critical of your work, to see where its flaws are, to see how you can improve it, and to eventually, ideally, not find that process punishing and painful, with a lot of luck. But that is where the central event of the creative writing course comes. It subsists in the workshop. There are two programs we have here in UCD, an MA program and an MFA program. So the MA course has 3 trimesters. And the first 2, you'll do modules in writing fiction, in creative nonfiction, in poetry, and in creative reading. It's an interesting class we have, which encourages you to learn to read like a writer. And I sometimes think that means reading like a magpie. What can you steal? What can you find that someone else has done that you can take and think, yeah, I can do that. I can use the character that way. That's an interesting way to explore point of view. That's an interesting narrative voice. So taking inspiration in that way, not as a critic, but as a writer. So you'll do 6 modules over 2 trimesters, and then you'll have a 3rd trimester to work on a solo project of 15,000 words. This might be a novel, it might be a collection of stories, might be a poetry collection. In terms of outcomes for these programs, well, clearly the primary one is to be a writer. But of course, very few writers can survive by writing alone. One of the extra elements in the MFA program is a course in pedagogy, where students get to study the teaching of creative writing, and then they will themselves teach an undergraduate elective in creative writing. So teaching creative writing is another of the outcomes, along with publishing, editing, careers in media, communications, and the arts.
I'm Dr. Claire Hayes-Brady, and I am the co-convener of the MA in Literature and Culture, along with Dr. Catherine Fama. And welcome. We're delighted you're joining us today from the exotic confines of my spare bedroom, unfortunately not able to meet in person just at the moment. So the MA in Literature and Culture, to give you a broad sense of what we do, is our widely based English language, literature and culture masters, which combines a generalist core and foundation in critical methods and literary and cultural studies, along with wide-ranging options for specialist studies. It's guided by research-led teaching, so this very wide range of research-led teaching, led by our wonderful faculty from across the school, and we're really committed in the MA in Literature and Culture to that interdisciplinary teaching. So we work with colleagues from across the school through film, drama, creative writing, as well as literature, allowing students to really forge their own pathway through the course. And that's probably the most attractive element, I think, of the MA in Literature and Culture, is the capacity to develop your own course of study supported by our world-class faculty and facilities. What we're sort of interested in chiefly, I suppose, in the MA in Literature and Culture is the role of narrative and cultural production in contemporary society. So what do stories, poetry and visual media do for us and to us and with us? And where has that come from? So this is very much a sort of a trans-historically based. We look back at origins as well as contemporary movements and forms. We think about forms of culture. We think about the movement of information and the movement of art, and we think of the value that we assign to those things and how we engage with them as individuals, as a society, as a world. We ask students to think through their own interests as they come in, and then allow a specialization in areas from genre studies, modern and contemporary cultures, poetry, environmental humanities, public humanities. There's really something for everyone. In that sense, you'll work with colleagues, as I said, from across the school, and develop concrete skills in research, in writing, in speaking. The core module of the course is shared with other MA programs. It's a research methods module that gives you specific broad-based skills that you'll carry forward into your own research, and also then on into the world after you finish with the MA, wherever it takes you. So these are skills that students find really, really valuable. The course begins with a meeting with one of our faculty, either one of the coordinators or one of our teaching faculty, to tailor your studies, to discuss what you want from the program, and to tailor your pathway through the course with that in mind. So in terms of advice on choosing modules, advice on early thoughts about the dissertation, which is really the central portion of the program. And with that dissertation, you'll pursue your individual research interest with support from published experts in your field in this major research project. That's a guided one-to-one mentorship throughout the program. So it begins quite early in the year, and that member of staff will work with you all the way through until your submission date. Students work in all areas in this dissertation. It's not confined to a particular module or a particular field. Many of our students increasingly look at modern and contemporary material, from literature to film to graphic novel, and they're supported by that long historical lens, that excavation of where these forms have come from, that they're offered in the research-led seminars. Several of our students this year have been looking at 19th century material and some 18th century. So there really is a great deal of flexibility, and there's such a broad range of expertise in the school, that all of the projects are really well supervised and really kind of really well grounded and mentored in that respect. One of the other major offerings that we have and are really proud of is our vibrant graduate community, which covers our program and all the other programs you're hearing about today, as well as our PhD students. We really feel that our graduate students are a vital part of the school. We encourage our MA students to attend the weekly school research seminars. There's an active, dynamic English Graduate Society. There are regular conferences, symposia and events that we really strongly encourage our master's students to attend and get involved in. And you'll also have access to the Humanities Institute, UCD Environmental Humanities Study Group, our Single Lives Study Group, Architecture and Narrative, the Centre for History of Medicine in Ireland, and many research clusters that we strongly encourage our graduate students to be involved in. Our students talk about what they value in the MA programme as the concrete research skills and the concrete writing skills that they develop through the programme and through the seminars. They talk about the value that they get from our small group seminars and that diversity of views and discussions. In terms of where they go, where they take those skills, our students end up in a really wide range of very exciting careers, from journalism to advocacy, arts management to advertising, publishing and copy editing. Many of them do go on to further research either in literature or elsewhere in the arts and humanities. Many of them go into teaching, medicine and the associated sciences. So there's an enormous range of possible open careers, all very much grounded in those skills that you'll develop through the course. I'm going to hand you over now to talk a little bit more about what the course can do for you to one of our recent graduates, Luke. And if you're interested in discussing anything further about this, if you have any specific questions, I'll be over at the booth, the virtual booth from now. So please do come across and ask me any questions that you may have. I look forward to seeing you.
My name is Luke Eacock, and I did the Masters of Arts in Literature and Culture in the School of English, Film and Drama 2019-2020. I chose this course largely for, on the first step, fantastic modules, fantastic lectures, brilliant global perspective taken on things. And I fell in love with this course, not least because of those initial offerings, but because it went above and beyond what it told me it would give me. I was expecting a greater knowledge of literature, of literature's place in the world, how it helps us, how it reflects us, how it engages with the problems of the day. But I inevitably left with this far greater global and interpersonal perspective on everything. The issues of the day, but the issues of the past as well. The voices not heard, the voices that need to be heard. Literature offers this fantastic medium through which perspectives are diversified, perspectives are included. And that my own perspective is never going to be absolute. So the MA in Literature and Culture, through those modules, through those lectures, and through those seminars with such a diverse cohort of people, just gave me that far greater perspective on things. I've no doubt is going to aid me moving forward, no matter what direction I go in. It may have nothing to do with books, but it will be inevitably grounded upon what I have learned in this Masters.
Hello, my name is Eamon Jordan. I'm the director of the MA in Drama Performance. This MA has been in existence for 30 years now. And this year we've attracted students from America, from Scotland, from India. We have students also from Ireland, of course, and from around Europe as well. We have 2 students from Spain this year. And because of that, and because of that international combination, our classes tend to be informed by what students bring in part to the sessions, but also by the expertise that we provide in relation to the staff we have, but also the part-time staff that we can draw on. The MA in Drama Performance is based around live theatre in the main. We see a great deal of shows in Dublin, including plays performed at the Dublin Fringe Festival in September, but also the main theatre festival in September and early October each year. We also organise theatre trips to London, and that normally happens in December of the first semester. In the second semester, we also rely on theatre that's performed in Dublin, and even during that time, there's a great deal of professional work that we can see and we can draw upon. this particular MA deals with issues that are, a combination of theory and practice. As I said, liveness is important to what we do, but if you're interested in thinking more theoretically about theatre, to think about theatre and its cultural, social, and political contexts, well, this MA is a very interesting one for you. During the course of the year, we have 2 core modules. One is called Issues and Perspectives in Drama and Performance, and that is in the 2nd semester. In the 1st semester, you do a module called Research and Analysis in Drama and Performance, and this introduces you to key research skills in the area, but also how to do performance analysis of live shows that you see. Equally, there is a series of options that you can take across both 1st and 2nd semesters. In the 1st semester, there are modules like the body and performance, which is a more practice-orientated one. And there's also writing for stage in the 1st semester. In the 2nd semester, there is queer fictions module. There is a contemporary Irish theatre and performance module. And there is also what's called performance research. In that module, you can do anything from create your own piece of performance work to the studying of a particular production or production company. And it's really open to you. It's a kind of independent studies project. And then in the 3rd part of the year, you will do your dissertation. You start preparing for that in the January of the year that you're with us, but the main body of work is done in the summer of that particular academic year. Through that process, you're provided with considerable amount of feedback and supervisory support. People get to write about whatever project they are fundamentally interested in. In terms of careers, students go on to careers in a whole variety of fields. People go into theatre as practitioners, but they also go in as administrators. Some people go into media, others go into television in terms of production, but also script development. Others are inclined to pursue academic careers. So in the last 30 years, many of our graduates have gone on to do PhDs in a whole variety of subjects, and they've found employment after that across the world, really, in many, many different universities. I'm happy now to pass you on to Jessica, who has been a graduate of our program, and she is currently working as a tutor in the drama studies unit.
For my undergraduate degree, I did English and drama in UCD, and I really, really enjoyed the drama. I took 2 years out before deciding to do the MA, and I did a lot of different things. I worked in a restaurant, I worked with people with special needs, I facilitated drama sessions, and that's when I kind of realized, I'm going to go back. And then I came across this course. I toyed with doing theatre practice, the MA in theatre practice, but then I decided that drama and performance was probably best suited to what I wanted to do, and I really wanted to explore the idea of theatre for people with special needs, which is what I'm currently doing at the minute. So one of the main things that really attracted me was that I could do a few modules of the theatre practice course and the drama and performance. And in the core modules, everybody's together, as Eamon said. So you're getting that view, because some people are actors, some people are writers, some people are directors. So you're having everybody's different input on a certain topic, and you're thinking, wow, I wouldn't have even thought of that. That's not the angle I would have came at that from at all. And it really does open you up in a different kind of way. Had I have probably chosen a course where it was all just people who want to do the exact same thing as me, and that experience of kind of everyone's knowledge blending together in a way, it just felt like I was kind of getting a broader view of everything. I know it's cheesy, but the course absolutely changed my life. It gave me direction that I knew I needed the direction, but I didn't know what the direction was. And I found it by doing this course. I feel like I found my niche, and I had the opportunity to see from the trip to London and the theatre visits, different theatre that I would have never bought a ticket to go see myself, and read plays that I would have never read myself. And I kind of realized how narrow my own thinking was by opening it up. And I think that really changed my experience of creating theatre as well. You know, I was working with a friend of mine who did the BA, and then she did the MA in theatre practice. And together we've been working on a few productions, and it's I think you can really tell when you have that backing of an institution like UCD, I even feel more confident in myself.
Hello, my name is Paul Halfordy, and I am the director of the MA in Theatre Practice. The MA in Theatre Practice is quite a unique MA, as it is a kind of hybrid MA that is co-convened by UCD and the UCD School of Acting, the National Theatre School of Ireland. And that should tell you actually quite a lot about the MA, in that we have a dual focus on academics, academic research, and thinking, as well as the practice, theatre practice, performance practice. And of course, the academics are mostly done at UCD, where you'll be engaging with our faculty there. And the practical aspects of the MA are done at the UCD School of Acting, where you'll be engaging with the range of expert tutors and teachers and instructors, and many, many professionals from the theatrical world in Dublin who they have teaching there. So let's talk a little bit about the MA. So as I said, it's really focused on research and practice and their relationship to one another. And that follows through really everything we do, all of our modules and our thesis project. So I might talk about those now. So at UCD, you'll be taking 3 modules, and they are, in the first term, Research and Analysis in Drama and Performance. This is a kind of methods module, which is really focused on how do we analyze a performance? What's the vocabulary we use to understand and talk about theater and performance in an academically rigorous and thorough kind of way. On this module, we also, in regular circumstances, go and see plays, because how can you analyze a performance if you don't go to performances? So we go to see plays regularly, and the assessments that you do in this module are about, you write about the engagements you have with live performance in Dublin and also in London. Regularly, we will take MA students to London for a short 2 or 3 day trip, and we see matinees and evenings and generally have a great time. But the reason we go is because one of the things that we think is really, really important in an MA in Theatre and Performance is that you're seeing theatre and you're seeing performances, that you're engaging with what artists are doing right now. The second module that you'll take in term 2 is called Issues and Perspectives in Drama and Performance Studies. And that, again, sort of extends what artists are doing right now. It's a kind of smorgasbord of different topics in contemporary theater and performance. So in the module, you might look at verbatim practices where artists have been using found texts or interviewing people and taking those interviews and making them into performances. You might look at gender and performance, or you might look at nation and performance, or whatever's sort of happening, whatever's the kind of ideas that are emerging in theatre and performance in Dublin at the moment and elsewhere. And then finally is the thesis research project. And the thesis research project really is the capstone on your MA. And it is co-convened by UCD and the UCD School of Acting. And the reason that it works in that way is because we have a written thesis and a performance thesis, which the written thesis is supervised by faculty at UCD, while the performance thesis is supervised with input from your UCD faculty, but primarily at the UCD School of Acting. There are 20-minute performances which are created by the student. And by which I mean the student themselves follows their own interests, their own questions, their own ideas about performance. There's not a prescription. We're not asking you to do this play or write this play, or although you could do those kinds of things. It's really about discovering your own practice. And that brings me back to the modules that you'll be taking at the UCD School of Acting, which are Theatre Practice 1, Theatre Practice 2, The Body and Theatrical Space, and Advanced Processes in Physical Theatre. Now, these modules are really focused on creating a performance out of nothing, going from idea to performance. And it's an important thing to say that this is not an actor training program or a designer training program. We're not training you to be an actor or a director or a designer, but you will be engaging in all of these things. You will be engaging in performing, in designing, in directing, and in making your own work. So the fundamental center of the MA is about artists, about training artists to discover, hone, understand, be able to write about, be able to affect their own practice. And again, that comes together in the MA thesis, which is a 20-minute performance that is devised and created by the student and performed at the usually in the boys' school of the Smock Alley Theatre, which is in Dublin City Centre in Temple Bar, followed by a 5,000-word thesis, which is through which the student interrogates the ideas that they were attempting to perform through their 20-minute performance, and also contextualizes them in relationship to other artists in turn, or ideas and issues that they are interested in into relationship to society, or whatever they're trying to do with their performance, the intervention that they're trying to make. And that's most of what I can say about the MA in theatre practice at this point, but I would love to hear from you if you do have other questions. So please feel free to email me at paul.halferty, HALFERTY, at ucd.ie. There's also information, of course, on our website, and there's information as well on the GSA website. So if you do a search for UCD MA in Theatre Practice, GSA or UCD MA in Theatre Practice, you'll find both of our sites and information about the MA on both.